Welcome back. Today, we're stepping into the dark. We're venturing right into the hidden, unsettling corners of the human psyche to explore a shadow we all carry. Think about it for a second. What are you actually hiding when you look down on someone else? It's kind of an uncomfortable question, right? But it's literally the key to unlocking everything we're diving into today. You know, for centuries, we've heard about the 7 deadly sins as these terrible moral defects. But actually, scratch that. They're better understood as ancient psychological maps of human fragility. They're just natural, desperate protective strategies your mind uses when it's completely out of balance. But today, we're only looking at one, the deepest, most isolating one of them all. Let's start with the illusion of superiority. What's absolutely fascinating is how psychology flips our understanding of this on its head. Pride isn't just some religious failing or a personality quirk. It's a hardcore psychological defense mechanism. You use it to protect a desperately fragile ego. And how do you do it? By constructing this completely false elevation over everyone else around you. You're basically building a massive tower just to hide your own fear of being inadequate. So here's the core conflict at play. You've got this false grandeur projected on the outside, actively battling a hidden, silent fear on the inside. Pride puts up this arrogant, flawless exterior, like a mask of absolute competence. But right beneath that mask, there's a terrified, deeply vulnerable core. Honestly, the louder the boast, the deeper the fear usually is.
Psychology actually points to a really ancient story to explain this whole pathology, the myth of Narcissus. Remember him? He fell so deeply in love with his own reflection in a pool of water that he developed a total obsession with his self-image. And that obsession led to a complete, stubborn denial of the outside world. He refused any authentic connection with real people. And because of that refusal, he faced this inevitable, completely solitary destruction. He faded away because he convinced himself he needed absolutely no one. That's what pride does. It steadily disconnects you from reality.
Which brings us to a really crucial, kind of chilling point. Why do you build walls around yourself made entirely of mirrors? Sure, you only see yourself, you only admire yourself, but you're completely trapped inside. Now, let's look at ego as self-protection. Your mind relies heavily on a tricky little tool called rationalization. It's the act of constructing these very logical-sounding reasons to justify what you do. But in reality, your behavior is actually being driven by unconscious fear and primal instinct. Rationalization is a masterclass in self-deception. It literally blinds you to your own flaws, neatly disguising your deep-seated fears as cold, hard logic. In psychology, they often call these specific rationalizations sour grapes and sweet lemons. Let's say you try for a goal and you completely fail. Suddenly, you claim you never even wanted it in the first place, right? That's sour grapes. Or maybe you're stuck in a really mediocre dead-end situation, and you falsely praise it as the best thing that ever happened to you. That's sweet lemons. We twist our reality into knots just to protect our fragile self-esteem. But here's the catch. That fortress of logic you build, it locks you inside. By constantly justifying your actions and making excuses, you're building a mental prison brick by brick. Sure, this self-deception keeps you safe and cozy in your comfort zone, but it completely blocks out the truth. Think about it. If you never ever admit a mistake, you literally can't correct it. You just stop growing. And that brings us to the rejection of vulnerability. This introduces another defense, projection. This is when you take your own hidden flaws, your failures, and those desires you're ashamed of, and you attribute them directly onto someone else. A mind infected with pride simply cannot handle its own darkness. So what does it do? It casts its own dark shadows onto innocent people around it. You end up accusing others of the exact things you're guilty of. It's a really desperate, ugly move just to maintain that spotless, perfect image. And wearing that heavy mask comes at a devastating cost. To keep up your false elevation, you inevitably have to push other people down. You start negating their worth. You end up objectifying your friends, your rivals, treating them like mere tools for your ego. You refuse to ever, under any circumstances, admit an error, which damages your closest bonds through constant, relentless blame. That interpersonal destruction is literally the price of pride. Everyone else has to be made less than, just so your fragile ego can survive another day. So I have to ask, are you truly independent, or have you just made yourself completely unreachable? Your pride loves to whisper that your detachment is a form of strength, but let's be real, it's not. It's just fear desperately dressed up in heavy armor.
which leads us perfectly into deception through digital status. Just notice the exact cycle of self-deception we fall into today. It's almost clinical. Step 1, you feel a sharp trigger of insecurity. Step 2, you immediately rationalize it away. Step 3, you turn to your screens. You create a carefully curated digital projection of status, designing a flawless public mask for the online world. And then, step 4, this triggers a deepening, profound isolation. You pour all your precious energy into this fake persona, and slowly but surely, you withdraw from authentic, messy, real human connection.
Because the imposter inside you, it feeds on the algorithm. We relentlessly chase likes, comments, and this bizarre parasocial validation. It gives us a quick rush of dopamine, making it feel vaguely like a connection, but it requires zero actual vulnerability. And this incredibly hollow pursuit of digital status, it only widens the inner void. You eventually become a complete stranger to yourself. Finally, we reach the inevitable end, the final ego collapse.
Consider the trap of pride versus the solid ground of true humility. Pride is just an exhausting, non-stop performance. It's an incredibly fragile illusion of separateness. Think about the massive, draining energy it takes to maintain the daily lie that you are somehow superior to everyone else. True humility, on the other hand, isn't humiliation. It's quiet. It's deeply grounded in accurate self-awareness. It's the profound peace of knowing exactly who you are, flaws, failures, and all. But if you insist on choosing pride, you need to know this: the mask always cracks. Eventually, the illusion of superiority simply cannot hold up against the crushing weight of reality. When the gap between your completely false image and the raw truth becomes too wide, a terrifying psychological collapse occurs. The ego simply shatters. The defense mechanism finally, inevitably fails. Which leaves us with this final, truly unsettling realization. Pride does not raise you above others. It only lifts you high enough to fall alone.